in this precept right here, he's going to state some more about us being a great people. But now we're about to get into the precepts where you're going to see how we fail. And I know you said this, Jay. We tell them how many times when we talk to people about trying to tell them who they are, the first thing comes out their mouth is what? If we were chosen, why are we suffering? Mm-hmm. If we chosen, why we get treated like the way we do in America? Why did they do this to us? Why all this happened? Why did we go into slavery? Why did God allow this to happen? That's just, we hear, and no matter where city we in, no matter what person we talking to, family members, friends, strangers, no matter who they are, people that inbox us and try to reach out to when they see our videos and they ask the same questions over and over. And we have to tell them. Matter of fact, let me give this out too so you can have this. If you're questioning this, and just like I said, this is the first time you ever seen it in our videos. Because we're going to give some of this how we feel, but we have an entire lesson dedicated to that. If you go back and look at our videos in week 11, we did a lesson called "To Whom Much Is Given, Much Is Required." So we're going to address some of these things today, but we have a lesson, detailed lesson that's strictly about that, about how we fail and reason why we're in the situation we are today. We're going to touch on it somewhat today. Deuteronomy 32nd chapter, and get in verses. Let's start at verse 7 there.
Remember the days of old. Consider the years of many generations. Ask thy father, and he will show thee.
See, go ahead, my bad.
Thy elders, and they will tell thee.
Now, see, this is one of the problems that we have here in America right now. It's because the young people today, they don't respect the elders of this country. They don't respect the elders of our people. They don't have any honor. They don't give them with any honor, any reverence. So, to get this wisdom that you need to be able to live in today, you need to be able to sit down with your grandmothers. You need to be able to sit down with your grandfathers, with your uncles, your parents, and have these conversations about what life was. And I've had plenty of conversations with my grandmother, my grandfathers. I had plenty of conversations with older people, like in our church, old deacons. And they would tell you that life for our people in the country was completely different pre-civil rights. Our communities were different. The way we treated each other was different. Our churches were different. Everything was different. But when the Esau came along and told us that we can start going to their colleges and to their schools and to their restaurants and to their businesses, we said goodbye to the Bible. They started preaching their messages versus the messages that we were talking about then, that was building us up. When you go to Black Wall Street, Tulsa, Oklahoma, when you go to Harlem, when you go to Compton, when you go to Baltimore, when you go to D.C., when you go to Durham, North Carolina, you go to Wilmington, North Carolina, when you go down to the areas of Columbia, South Carolina, and Atlanta, Georgia, there was prominent black communities pre-civil rights. But when you go post-civil rights, look at those communities now. When we went from trusting the people, trusting the Most High, to trusting the government, look what it did to us. Look what happened. We took our hand out of God's hand and we put it in John F. Kennedy's hand. Lyndon B. Johnson. Take us, give us rights. And the Most High had already given us divine rights. And look at what happened to our communities and our people as a result of it. There wasn't no such thing as no baby mamas and baby daddies pre-civil rights. There wasn't no such thing as all these fake preachers that you got out here preaching all this nonsense. You get out of there. You get kicked up out of there doing that junk back in the day. When you in our communities, pre-civil rights, the principals, the teachers, the business owners, the workers, everybody went to church. Okay? And they were real followers of Christ. So you didn't have to worry about sending your kid to school and they telling them there ain't no such thing as God. Or you can be married to a man, or you can be, I know you're a boy, but you can be a girl. No teacher wasn't telling these, no students that then. You didn't have kids acting the way they act in school, the way they act now. Because they had parents. Because they had teachers. And all the prominent leaders that were in our community were prominent leaders in the church. Now the leaders are the ones on social media and on TV talking anti-church. They're anti-Christ now. They're telling you you need to go into this new age, or we need to be in yoga, or we need to be, get into this in this Eastern. What that got to do with us? So we have assimilated so much into society that we're no longer ourselves. We don't even know who we are anymore. So he's telling them right now, talk to the elders, talk to your older people, and tell them who you are. Verse 8.
When the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel.
So what do you mean by that? Set to the boundaries of the children of Israel. What happened was, when at the Tower of Babel in Genesis 11, when the Most High went up and saw what they were doing, he sent angels down, 70 angels down, and split their tongues into 70 different languages. He confounded language. That way they could no longer communicate with themselves. And when he says the boundaries of the children of Israel, when Israel went into Egypt, there were 70 souls that went in. And so that was the same amount of angels that he put over the different nations. He didn't put gods over. He was not their God. If you go into Psalms 147, verse 19 through 20, he says, my laws and my statutes and commandments that I give to Jacob, to Israel, no other nation have I visited. Okay? I know the way it looks now, that the Most High is the God of Europe, and we had some African gods the way they try to tell us. No, that's a lie. Okay? Don't believe the hype. He wasn't no God of Europe. He was the God of the Israels, of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our people. Verse 9.
For the Lord's portion is his people.
Who is his people?
Jacob is the lot of his inheritance.
So that means that he put angels over every other nation in the world. But for our people, the so-called black man, the so-called African-American man, the so-called Indian, the so-called Mexican, the so-called Puerto Ricans, he said, these are mine. Verse 10.
He found in a desert land and in the waste howling wilderness, he led them about. He instructed him, he kept him as the apple of his eye.
As of who?
As the apple of his eye.
As the apple of his eye. And when you go into Zechariah, in Zechariah, I think in the 2nd chapter, he says, anyone who touches Israel touches the apple of his eye. And I know, once again, if we're the apple of his eye, why are we this way? You about to see. Verse 11.
As an eagle stirs up her nest, fluttering over her young, spreadeth abroad her wings, taketh them, bears them on her wings. So the Lord alone did lead him, and there was no strange God with them. There was no strange gods.
We weren't out here serving no Allah. We weren't out here serving no Buddha, no Confucians, no Baal, nobody. None of that stuff. Nothing but a higher, the Most High God. I am that I am. A higher, a higher. Verse 13.
He made him ride on the high places of the earth, that he might eat the increase of the fields. And he made him to suck honey out of the rock, and oil out of the flinty rock. Butter of kine and milk of sheep, with fat of lambs and rams of the breed of Bashan and goats, and the fat of kidneys of wheat. And thou did drink the pure blood of grapes.
Listen, we had the best of the best. We wasn't the way it is now, with us scrambling from crumbs and falling from our slave master table. Nah, that's not how we were. We had everything. We were the envy of every nation. We had the best of the best. The best crops, the best fruits, the best cattle, everything. He made us ride high above all people. But look at what happened here. Verse 15.
But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked. Thou art waxen fat, thou art grown thick. Thou art covered with fatness, Then he forsook God, which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
Now, I looked at that word Jeshurun, and you're never going to believe this. Jeshurun is a poetical name for the people of Israel. It's used as a token of affection. You know how when you got like your girl, right? And you call her baby girl, bae, sweetheart, all these things. You got these affectionate names for your loved ones, for the person, somebody that's dear to you. You know how you give your child a little nickname? Only you call them and everybody else know them as this name, but you got your special name for them? Jeshurun was the name that he gave his people. He gave us a nickname, a token of affection. And that name, Jeshurun, means the dear, upright people. The Most High gave us our own little nickname, which means the dear, upright people. Do you understand how the Most High loves you? He doesn't have any affectionate nicknames for other people. But he gave us one. And it means my dear, upright people. That's how much the Most High loves you. Now read that for him again.
But Jeshurun waxed fat and kicked, and thou art waxen fat, and thou art grown thick, thou art covered with the fatness. Then he forsook God which made him, and lightly esteemed the rock of his salvation.
So when everything started going great, when we had came out of the wilderness and walking around from there, we had came out of slavery in Egypt, and we was in the best houses with gold and silver and drinking the top choice wine and eating the best cuts of meat and the best fruits. When everything was going great, we act like we didn't even know who gave it to us. We act like we had no idea how we got to this point. And this is the same thing that our people did here in America. We came here on slave ships, beaten, raped, taken advantage of, taking our kids and selling them, destroying our families. But the Most High delivered us out of that. And guess what we did? Regardless of this Bible, in the midst of everything that was going on in this country, we started building cities, building families, building businesses, and getting ourselves on our own. America wasn't giving us anything. No 40 acres and no mule, no jobs, no nothing. So how did our people become great? How did our people have all these inventions? How did our people achieve all the things they did? Build all these colleges, these HBCUs, and everything with no help from nobody. Who do you think did that? The Most High. But guess what happened in the 50s and 60s? The white man came along and said, listen, brother, I know you're going to NT and Fayetteville State and Winston State, but come on down here to North Carolina State. Come on down here to Chapel Hill. Come on down here to Duke. And all of our best athletes, all of our best scholars and intelligent people went away from our colleges, went away from our universities, and went and made money for them. And now most of our colleges are barely hanging on. You'll sit here and talk to people who graduated from APCUs. And I ain't sending my kid back there. I'm sending them to the grade school. We ain't got nothing over here. See the mindset? You see the mindset? You got our people starting restaurants and businesses in the community. I ain't going over there. Their price is too high. I'm going over here to Walmart. I'm going over here to McDonald's. So anything that's black, anything that's African American, you don't want no part of it. And then when their businesses fail, should have never started that business in the first place. No, it's because our people didn't support them. And this is what happened here, and this is the same thing we're doing over here. Verse 16.
They provoked him to jealousy with strange gods. With abomination provoked they him to anger. They sacrificed unto devils, not to God, to gods whom they knew not.
They didn't even know these guys. Okay? They met a Gentile somewhere. They told them about this Baal or all these Molech and all this stuff, and they started doing this stuff. It had nothing to do with them. New gods they didn't even know. And this is the same thing our people are doing here in this country. Same thing. You know your grandma ain't never been doing some of the stuff you doing. Your grandma be turning over your grave right now. You know you was calling yourself an Egyptologist. I'm conscious. I would love for you to sit down with your grandma and your grandpa and say, Grandma, I'm woke now, I'm conscious. And see what your grandma would do to you. Just completely walking away from everything that we were. Trying to be like everybody else. When everybody else was trying to be like us. Sad, man. Our people Israel, man. We just, sometimes I don't know what's wrong with us. Verse 18.
There came newly up, whom your fathers fear not. Of the rock that begat thee, thou art unmindful, and hast forgotten God that formed thee. And when the Lord saw it, he abhorred them because of the provoking of his sons and of his daughters.
So he said now, one of the things that upset him the most was not so much that the grown folks was doing it, but they were teaching their children to do it. Why do you think these kids now have no respect for anything? It's because their parents taught them that way. Once upon a time, it was a community. It took a community to raise each other. Now, you say something to a kid now, you're going to have to fight them, their mama, their uncles. You're going to have to fight them, and the only thing you were doing was try to correct it. Kids go to school, cuss teachers out. Parents will come in, instead of correcting the kid, will cuss the same teacher out too. Trust me, I've seen it every day when I was working in the school system. But we blame the kids, and we don't look at the parents. So this is what ticked the Most High off the most. It's because not only were they doing these things, they were teaching their children to do the same thing. Verse 20.
And he said, I will hide my face from them. I will see what their end shall be, for they are a very forward generation, children to whom is no face.
Children whom there is no face. So what he said he's going to do, I'm taking my hands off them. I'm going to hide my face from them. Their priest's going to be praying to me. I ain't answering nothing. The prophet's going to call out to me. I ain't answering. I ain't speaking. And we're going to see, since this is what you want to do, we're going to see how this is going to work for you. Same thing happening here in America. When we marched down the streets, let me stop here for a second because I have to always give this disclaimer. I am not talking against our ancestors who were trying to fight for us. I'm talking against the people who convinced them that they should. Because the people that was out there in the streets and marching and all that stuff, they were doing it for us to have a better life. They just didn't realize they were being conned by the Jewish people. Because the NAACP wasn't started by a black man. It started by a Jewish man. The Nation of Islam was not started by Elijah Muhammad. It was started by a white man by the name of Willis Muhammad Farad. The Jehovah's Witness was not started by a black man. It was started by a white Jewish guy. So all of the things that pulled us away were started by other people, not us. They started it and put us in the face of it. Same thing with this Black Lives Matter stuff. Ain't a black man started it. Do your research. Black Lives Matter was not started by black people. They want to make you think that, but that's not what happened. So what they do is they bring a guy in, gas him up, give him some cash, give him a microphone, go out and scream a bunch of stuff, people go follow it, and then they follow that guy, and then they step away to get you out of this. It's the same thing they've been doing since day one. So you have to understand that. So the Most High said, you know what, I'm gonna if that's what you want. You don't want to go to church no more, you don't want to study the Bible no more, you don't want to believe in Christ no more. We're gonna see. And look at what happened to our people as a result of it. Look at the neighborhoods now. Look at it pre-civil rights. Look at it now. Verse 21.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. Now,
let's do something right quick. I need to show you something. We got to give you a precept in this. Go to Romans 11 chapter. I got to give you a precept so you can understand this. Matter of fact, read that for them again before we go over there. While he's reading that, go in your Bibles to Romans 11 chapter. Read verse 21 for him again.
They have moved me to jealousy with that which is not God. They have provoked me to anger with their vanities, and I will move them to jealousy with those which are not a people. I will provoke them to anger with a foolish nation.
So he's saying, since you're going to go to these other gods and make me jealous, I'm going to make you jealous with another nation. He said that in Deuteronomy. I'm going to give you the precept in Romans 11 in the New Testament where Paul says this exact same thing. So you can see that this ain't no coincidence. He said it then, they didn't get it right, and he said it again. Romans 11, precept Romans 11, verse 11 and 12.
I say then, if they stumble, that they should fall. God forbid, but rather through their fall salvation is come unto the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
So you see it right here. That this Bible, this whole time, everything that we were doing was for Israel. When Christ came, he says in Matthew the 10th chapter, go not in the way of the Gentiles, but go to the household of Israel. When he gave the decree in Matthew 28, go to all nations, looking for Israel. When you go into Acts the 2nd chapter, when they were doing on the day of Pentecost, the Jews were coming from all nations. The Holy Spirit came. They began to speak in tongues that was not known to them, spoken in the language of all the Israelites and all these different nations. They went back to their nations and were preaching to Israelites. Gentiles did not come in until when Peter had the dream and he brought in Cornelius. So we were not practicing no Christianity. We were still Israelites, following law, statutes, and commandments through Christ. So Paul was asking the question here in Romans 11th chapter. Have they fallen? Are they done away with, speaking of the children of Israel, and reading for them again?
I say then, have they stumbled that they should fall? God forbid.
God forbid. He told them back in, remember I told you back in 2 Samuel, the 7th chapter, he says, they are my people for how long? Forever. Forever. But he said, what now?
But rather through the fall, salvation is coming to the Gentiles, for to provoke them to jealousy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the fall of them be the riches of the world, and the diminishing of them riches of the Gentiles, how much more, therefore?
How much on are we? The way the world is looking right now, how they are, is because we failed. Everything that you see, all the riches, all the gold, all the silver, belongs to us. Everything. Because we failed, it was to provoke jealousy. For us to be able, our people to see what we had, what we gave up. Now that we see the Gentiles with it, that's why now he's waking us back up now to see, okay, it's time to regain our stuff. Now, let's go back to Deuteronomy 28. I had to give you that precept so you can see that. Now, verse 22. We're back in Deuteronomy 32, verse 22.
For a fire is kindled in my anger, and shall burn unto the Lord's hail, and shall consume the earth with her increase, and set on fire the foundations of the mountain.
So the Most High is upset with us. He can't believe that we allow these things to happen. He can't believe that everything he's done for us that we will walk away from. Verse 23.
I will heap mischief upon them. I will spin my arrows upon them. They shall be burnt with hunger, devoured with burning heat, and with bitter destruction. I will also send the teeth of the beast upon them with the poison of serpents of the dust. The sword without and terror within shall destroy both the young man and the virgin, the suckling also with the man of the gray hairs. I said I will scatter them into the corners. I will make them remembrance of them to cease from among men.
You see that? That's why I didn't stop them. Everything that has happened to our people, from the time that we was in Israel, to the time that we was in West and Southern Africa, to the time that we was in America, all was a result of this. And read that last verse for him again.
I said I will scatter them into corners. I will make them remembrance of them to cease from among men.
That's why we don't know who we are. That's why they think that we are the cursed seed of Ham. They're trying to explain who we are. Who in the world has been called a color? Us. You can't find a culture of people named black. But that's what they call us. You can go to any other Gentile. They say, yeah, I'm from Germany. My people from Spain. My people from Pakistan. My people from Asia. My people from Korea. My people from Vietnam. My people from Japan. My people from London. My people from Ireland. They can tell you. Everybody else can tell you, but we have no. I don't know. Read that last part from again.
I said I would scatter them into corners, and I will make the remembrance of them to cease from among men.
That's how it happened. That's why you believe that you're black. That's why after all these years in America, you went from nigger to color to black, and then all of a sudden now when they say we're going to accept you in 2000, maybe in the 90s, now you're African American. A whole continent. You ever seen a white man say, I'm European? He said, no, I'm Irish. I'm German. I'm from Belgium. I'm from Spain. I'm from France. But we say, I'm from Africa, man. Where? I don't know. This is why. This is why. And if you need to know more detail of that, go back and check our lessons. Week 4, week 5, chosen but unaware. We break everything down, tracing from Israel to America. So go watch those lessons if you want some more information on that. This is how that happened. Verse 27.
Were it not that I feared the wrath of the enemy, lest their adversaries should behave themselves strangely, and lest they should say, our hand is high, and the Lord have not done all this. So
he's writing this in these scriptures. I'm so glad how the Most High does things. He put this in the Bible to prevent all of these nations who did to these things to us to ever to be able to boast about it. See, we sit up there and we say, the white man enslaved us. The white man destroyed us. The white man killed us. The white man raped us. That's why he put this in here. So you can know that no other nation did this to us. We did it to ourselves. And the Most High allowed it. You understand now? It's clear. This is why I be telling the people, we need to stop pointing the fingers out. We need to look at ourselves now. Because ain't nobody going to get us out of this situation but ourselves going back through Christ, through the Most High, through Christ. Verse 28.
For they are a nation void of counsel, neither is there any understanding in them. Oh, that there were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider the letter end.
If they were, he said, if they had some common, like your mama and them said to you, if you had some common sense, you would hear and see what was going to happen. You know how it is when our parents used to tell us what not to do, and we go out and do the exact same thing and deal with the consequences? The Most High told our people what not to do. We did it. He said if they were wise, they would know what was going to come of it. Because when you go back and read Deuteronomy 28, he laid it out plain. Started at verse 1. He said, if you listen to what I say, I'm going to bless you. He went from 14 verses, saying everything you're going to do. But then he said in verse 15, if you do not listen, this is what's going to happen. And from 16 to 68, he told us everything that we're going to do to us. And we still did it. Hard-headed. We still didn't listen. We still forsake this law. We still forsake these commandments. And now, he said, read it for him again.
Oh, that were wise, that they understood this, that they would consider the letter end.
If we would have knew that if we knew for a fact and believed the Most High that we'd be in slavery, that everything that happened to us, we probably would have listened, but we didn't believe it. We didn't believe it. And many of you have come on today, some of you might be still on, and you hearing this, you think this is nonsense. Because you believe you're a Baptist. You believe you're black. You believe you're an African American. You can't even conceive that this is who you are. He that ever hear, let him hear what the Spirit is saying to the churches today. Now, let's go to Jeremiah 17. Got one more precept to show you